Hey, you guys are here for the Promeia guide, right? I haven't been here for 20 minutes. The guide. Welcome into your early Promeia guide breakdown. And let me be honest with you guys up front. I thought Promeia was going to be an easy guide to make. Oh, she just tosses out some blooms, right? Bro, just use one EX and she'll probably get everything done. Look at the last 5 characters. They all just use one button. Well, Promeia is bringing back the combos, and it's going to be imperative that you listen up. So let's start sliding on the skates and hitting the ice. It's time to talk Promeia. Promeia is quite the text tailor. She has quite a bit to her and a few mechanics that lead to another, that lead to something else, that leads to a whole nother thing. To kick things off, let's start with Promeia's core passive that converts her Anomaly Mastery into Anomaly Proficiency and extra Squad of Bloom damage bonus, meaning that her Anomaly Mastery will be scaled for 3 total items, which means during our build section in the middle of this guide, you'll know which stat we want to prioritize. But right next to that is her stacking mechanic of Corrosive Chill, and by stacking at least 50 Corrosive Chill, you can gain a point of Trial by Cold. This point will allow you to deal an instance of a bloom once you finish your EX special combo, dealing a whopping 635% of the current applied attribute anomaly. Now, if that sounds a bit confusing, we'll break it down later. Your TLDR right now is that you should be wanting to stack up these points and dish out bursts of blooms, disorders, and massive anomaly damage. But Josh, how do we even build up these corrosive chills to get these points? Well, there are 3 ways to do so. First is Ice Anomaly Freeze. You can also trigger disorders and even apply Vortex, which is the new effect of the Wind attribute anomaly. Currently, we do not have a consistent way to apply this as we don't have a Wind character upon her release. But in a few weeks to a month, we'll circle back to this with a whole new guide on Wind as 3.0 rolls out, so hit that subscribe button right now. We can't have you missing out on our coverage of the new season. And just to add a little extra sprinkle of statistics, each of those anomaly instances will gain you 5 points, and a Bloom instance will gain you 15 points, yet you can also gain 10 points from just when Promeia activates her EX special called Execution Shrouded in Shadow. We'll just call it her EX special Execution for now. Talking about the EX specials, let's move into the actual kit as Promeia is ready to slice and dice her enemies with absolute zero attempt attacks. First, let's begin with taking her clothes off. I mean her basics. Nothing too special here. We have a 5-hit combo, and on the end of the 4th hit, you can enter into what is known as the Bound Absolution state. You can enter the Bound Absolution state in 2 ways. First, with her basics, and also with her EX special. We'll learn about that soon. But let's keep to the basics for now. The 4th hit will have her flash her enemies, and the 5th finisher attack can be followed up by a regular special or another basic to launch a trial by cold attack, consuming one of your bloom points. And again, if you have an attribute anomaly on the character already, you will hit the bloom. There is also another way to enter the Bound Absolution state. Again, it's actually holding down her basic. Although in testing, I find this method to be just for show, and literally only to Aura Farm or down the road piss off your co-op teammates, because we're definitely getting co-op in Season 3, right? But there is a reason why I'm so focused on the Bound Absolution state. Being in the state allows you to perfect dodge attacks via a parry. That's right, Promeia is secretly a rupture unit, or basically just a slightly complex version of Alice. But this allows Promeia to input her special combo line, and it all starts with 1 EX special. Let's first show the regular plain EX attack, and this one is called the Glacial Death. It doesn't really get you much outside of the damage, but when being attacked, this attack will chain into a move I mentioned earlier, the EX special Execution. Shrouded in Shadow. Yeah, I swear Promeia is getting her attack names from the Eminence in Shadow anime. But I digress, this attack will be the first of your combo line and will send Promeia flying behind the enemy in a vital view state and launch a really cool EX special attack to gain the Absolute Order effect. Now, this effect really is just a name to say that you have the green light to launch the rest of your combo, so don't really worry about it. After launching your parry EX special execution attack, you can then input a basic or special again, whilst also in bound absolution. This should already be active once you parry. Then you'll leap towards the enemy, grabbing your cape and Beyblade yourself to slam against the enemy. Yet, before I move on, for the veterans and intermediate players, listen up. If you're just wanting to Oonga Boonga, press the subscribe button right now, and then press your arrow key once to skip 10 seconds. Don't worry, I won't be offended. So there are two different follow-up special attacks for special number 2, called Descending Frost and Layered Frost. So Descending Frost is for when you come from the basic line and you have generated bound absolution. If you are just inputting your EX special, let's say from within the stun window, you're going to be getting the Layered Frost attack, which hits slightly harder, but both will lead to the next attack, which let's get to right now. Welcome back, everyone. So after the second follow-up special attack, if you have a trial by cold a bloom point, you can also press the basic or special to consume one. And a bloom, you have your 3 attack combo. Pretty gnarly. Huh? You had to wait, there's more, because after you launch your Bloom instance, you can immediately follow up with Promeia's finishing special attack if you have the energy, called the Merciless Judgment. Just like how she judges me for wanting her to step on. This attack can always be followed up after any trial by cold actually, but all you need to do is, again, input a basic or special in order to execute this maneuver, as you'll quickly leap up again to unleash another nasty slash. And what's crazy is that you can actually circle back to the basic 5 after this hit, which, if you remember earlier, if your Krampus member has a trial by cold point, you can launch another Bloom thereafter. So if you have 2 trial by cold points, you can launch your 2 special hit to Bloom, then special, basic 5, then Bloom again. This combo requires a bit of setup, yet paired with units that specialize in Bloom, ice, or wind application, you'll be able to capitalize on these more often. And just to clarify, when mentioning basics or special inputs earlier, it actually doesn't matter, because the attack will always count as a special, and that will be important when talking about abilities and how they proc your bonuses for your skills and even W engines and drive discs. And to cap off the kit breakdown, we'll let Promeia land her chain and ult, both of which can actually trigger an Bloom if the enemy is afflicted with an anomaly, including ice. And thereafter, you can follow up with your basic 5 to move into your Bloom special combo. Usually I have my combat showcase after the team building portion, but let's actually bring it here into the kit portion just to have things make more sense, as we now have just picked up our combo. So first we start with an EX parry. This will allow us to gain the absolute order effect alongside bound absolution. Then we hit another special to follow up with special 2. Then another basic to activate the trial by Colt of Bloom. Thereafter, we strike once more with the special finisher, the Merciless Judgment, and then immediately follow up with the basic 5 to activate Merciless Judgment yet again. All this is achievable if we have 2 points of trial by cold and the full stack of EX special. And just to make sure that we're not swapping in between these attacks, it's not like other units who can maintain attack order. It will reset the whole combo and you'll have to start over with no momentum, making Promeia difficult yet extremely rewarding to set up and execute. Hey folks, it's Post Edit Josh here. Sorry to pause the video, but one thing I also needed to notify you guys about is that this combo that we mentioned earlier, this EX special, Bloom combo, EX special, basic 5, can all be accessed by just holding down the basic technically. As you guys can see, we flow from the special, which you can activate via the special or basic button, and the Bloom is also activated by the basic. So if you wanted to just hold down the basic for your special combos, going into a Bloom to the basic 5, back into another round of the specials, again, if you have enough trial by cold points again, then you actually can just continuously hold down the basic button to do so. It's actually quite convenient if you've set it up properly. And now back to the video. Whew, that was a lot, but we'll actually be able to go over more applications of this down the line. But since we're still learning about Promeia, let's now get into the build portion of this guide. Now, despite Promeia's proclivity to strip herself down, she actually wants to bundle up with a bunch of classical anomaly stats. Let's first start with her threshold, which will give us context to what stuff we want to put on her. First bottleneck will be her anomaly mastery. Remember all the way back not 5 minutes ago when we mentioned that she scales with a few things from her AM? Well, that's coming around here with the core ability the ability called Thief of Flames. This will take her AM past an initial 150, and for every point exceeding will provide an extra 1.5 AP to you, also 0.35% Squad of Bloom damage bonus. So let's take a build with the signature, Max Core F, and 2 Phaeton's Melody, as those are the only 2 things currently that we could affect her base AM here. We'll have a potential total of 248, which gains us 98 AM points to convert. This would land us 147 extra AP and 34% of Bloom bonus damage, which is absolutely nuts, considering an R3 Weeping Gemini WEngine will grant 152, which is nasty how much stronger these new anomaly units are, including Arya, of course. But more than that, we haven't even mentioned Promeia's additional ability, as when she is paired with another anomaly or support, which arguably is the most flexible condition for any anomaly unit, your EX special gains Ice Anomaly buildup. You gain 3 seconds of the Frostbite anomaly effect, and you can inflict a debuff called the Presumption of Guilt, allowing your teams of blooms to hit with 40% defense ignore for 30 seconds, meaning you have a buff to a blooms and a debuff with defense ignore. And in the words of Butcher from the boys, absolutely diabolical. Banging beavers in the back of a Buca de Beppo. But now that we can see how much potential stat bonuses she can have, let's start to show you how we can get there. And if we aren't waiting to get this shiny gear for her, how can we compensate? Let's begin with the creme de la creme, the Frostfall Sickle. This sleek mistress of an engine has magnificent 713 base attack, horsepower with 30% auxiliary anomaly mastery. With a simple 2-wheel drive that provides an ice damage bonus for 40 seconds, that stacks up to 2 times. But note, it's 1 stack per skill, so you just can't start off the battle with 2 regular specials. And once you're at 2 stacks, the equipped unit deals an additional 35% of bloom damage, increasing your mileage efficiency and range. This Ford F-150 Mustang, which, my bad, we're talking about WEngines. Folks, this signature is pure stats. We've seen these types of engines before, yet unfortunately the condition to pop this is that the character needs to be ice. So there's literally only one other character who could even make use of this, and they don't even a bloom. So if you're planning on getting this WEngine for now, it is better to categorize this one as niche. Next, as we mentioned before, anomaly mastery is queen. So we'll be looking towards AM options like the Flight of Fancy, as you can gain 40% from its passive as a stat bonus with 90 AP attached. This WEngine option is a pure stat stick, as you won't gain anything outside of that, but in all honesty, that's really all you need from a WEngine. Other options you can look towards are the Angel in a Shell, which provides 30% AM, similar to Promeia Sig, and 90 AP. Then we can even look towards the Practice Perfection, that instead of AP provides attack and anomaly mastery, although with a slightly less portion, but still gets the job done. Yes, these are all alternative signatures, Josh, but where are my budget and F2P options? Well, let's jump to them right now. Starting with my absolute favorite, the Fusion Compiler. Another amazing stat stick this time, promoting pen and attack bonuses alongside a strong AP bonus. Especially if you were to max overclock this WEngine, which is actually possible with the monthly shop and collectible exchange. This option can actually compete with the sheer amount of AP and general stats it has, as the activation of the passive aligns up almost perfectly with Promeia's special combo line. The other solid options on the market right now are the variable A rank budget options like the Weeping Gemini and Rainforest Gourmet. Even with the lack of strong stat foundation, these options will get the job done, as Promeia isn't seeing too much out of a weapon outside of just that AM bonus she gets with the certain premium options. And as swiftly as she strikes, let's head over to the drive discs. And there really is only one option for our new premium Ice Anomaly unit, and that's the latest set to be released. Notes from the Chained. This option grants general ice damage bonus in the 2 slot, and in the 4 will grant AP bonuses when triggering a blooms, as well as an all attribute anomaly damage and disorder damage increase when triggering a freeze, which is easy work for the Krampus Judge. All these effects last 30 seconds, with repeat triggers refreshing the timer, and you essentially have an infinite anomaly buff that doesn't let up. And for the folks who haven't been paying attention, yes, I'm talking about you in the back, Jerry. AM has always and will be her primary focus. The 2 slot is obvious. It's the Phaethon's Melody. Yes, you could go with AP easily, but remember that you'd be getting much more bang for your buck by investing not only into your anomaly buildup speed with AM, but get a secondary scaling into AP and a bloom damage bonus with your core passive. So we'll be in the mines continuing to farm for Shadow Harmony pieces that we don't need, because I swear, Roland, is there no balance to the cleanups? Like, bro, why can't I just get my Phaethons? As for main stats for Promeia, 4th slot will be AP, 5th slot will be Ice, followed by Pen and Attack, then 6th slot is, you guessed it, Anomaly Mastery. Here's your infographic guide, the one-stop shop to building and teaming up your Promeia with the best so that you can go out and start swinging. And of course, you know this video is a part of our big push towards 35k subscribers here on YouTube. So make sure you hit the big red old button to join the Raccoon Platoon. Let me know if you have any more specific Promeia questions down in the comments below and I'll try to get to them, or you can even get in touch with me on our lives over on Twitch and YouTube. And now let's head over to talk about teams. And for how lone wolf Promeia might seem, she's going to want very capable and slightly more specific teammates, at least for the current patch. As you folks are aware, 3.0 is coming fast, and with it a whole new element, wind. When she's able to interact with Vortex, the wind attribute anomaly, she gains her stacks and builds up to her attacks. And one of her best teammates is Valena, who isn't coming out till then. So for now, who do we have? Well, let's start off with the Bloom units, namely Vivian and Non-Gong in the secondary anomaly slot. We are going to need units who synergize with Promeia's core passive, as the generation of her corrosive chills is the primary goal of how she is going to be able to push out all of her combos and land the blooms and disorders on her own. Then let's let in any support. Jshoea is going to be the most sensible pick here, as she grants all attribute damage and disorder bonuses with her own additional passive, alongside strong base stat buffs to attack, and the ability to help build up more anomaly by adopting the element of the character that follows her. This means that Jshoea could even be considered the core unit, as not only can you pair the bloomers with her, but you can even slot in Sokaku for the classic Yuzu Ice comp that was similar to Miyabi but different in playstyle and function. But since the supports here are quite universal, it just makes sense that we utilize the same core units for Promeia as well. Next are the more unconventional builds. Many people in my comments and community have been wanting to see Bernice make her comeback, specifically with a more true fire and ice anomaly comp featuring Bernice and Lighter in the back. And aside from a much more niche use case now, as there's not too much fire-oriented content, the raw damage output is solid. And I believe going into the next Season 3, we will be seeing a bit more ice and fire content paired with wind. So this team could see the light soon enough. Other options here range from the budget Sokaku and Nicole to even Piper and Lucy. Yes, even the classic 1-2 A-rank punch that was strong in 1.0 can scrape by at the tail end of Season 2. But where we go from there, you're gonna have to hit that subscribe button to keep up. And now that we've wrapped up team suggestions, it's time to put our suits on to talk about investments. More specifically, Promeia's Mindscapes and how much you guys should be investing into and what her breakpoints are. And hey, why not? If this video gets 1,000 likes, I'll M6 Promeia and do a massive showcase for you guys, because who doesn't want to see her at her max potential? Let's begin with her M1 and please, shaken, not stirred. The first Mindscape is called Innocent Idealism, and when Promeia uses her ult, she can gain 1 point of trial by gold if you're not maxed out already. If you are, then tough luck. So be sure to either map out your deadly assault runs proper or just pay attention to when you're popping your anomalies. Then you also gain an additional 20% defense ignore for a blooms squad wide for those who are affected by the presumption of guilt. That's again the additional core ability, totaling up to 60% a Bloom Defense Ignore. Actually insane. M2 is another solid DPS upgrade as Promeia's AP increases by 40 points. Alright. And the multiplier on the Bloom bonus increases by 120%. So essentially just add 20% of your original total Bloom on top of the general damage that you would have done, and that's just a Gusher's size explosion of anomaly in them Ethereal's faces. Kaboom. M3 and M5 are classical skill upgrades, and since most of Promeia's scaling of abilities and anomaly of blooms are tied to the skill, there's not terribly much going on here. Just straight up skill damage increases. Also, as the blooms on the chain and ult are fixed. M4 is a utility Mindscape that provides more corrosive chill stacks when triggering a blooms. 5 stacks every 0.5 seconds, which means that if you have a bloom from your teammate, your EX combo and consume 2 trial by cold, you can literally gain over 50 to 60 points for another trial by cold thereafter. And paired with the M1 to give you a stack after the ult, you're literally guaranteed at least 2 more blooms during your stun opportunities, landing you just more damage. Then finally, the M6 called To Be Continued. Yeah, that's just what it's called. Yeah. That's all I have there. But the maxing out of your Promeia will allow your trial by colds to trigger an additional bloom effect that deals 200% of the corresponding attribute anomaly damage, and also gain an additional 5 corrosive chill and 100 decibels. All this can only happen once every 15 seconds, which is a bit harsh, but I understand. If this ability could be popped every second, things would literally be deleted off the new Eridu map. And to top the Sunday with sprinkles, Promeia's anomaly and disorder damage ignores 15% of all enemy attribute resistance, which is definitely key as most ignores have gone to the general defense, not elemental resistance, making this all the much more valuable. And if you're a big baller, can be added onto Mindscapes like Nongong M1, Yuzu M1, Vivian M1 disorder bonus, and so on and so forth. Of course, if you guys have been here on the channel, my ranking and evaluation of the Mindscapes are very, very strict. And only when the Mindscapes are truly transformational would I even ever suggest them. Yet the M1 for Promeia has a strong damage differential, and paired with another alt sig or the fusion compiler with the full overclock, the damage is even better. So it's really about what resources you have at current or what you're willing to sacrifice before the wake of the new Season 3 of Zenless Zone Zero, which, I remind you, already has Promeia as the best teammate at the drop. And that, folks, will conclude our early access Promeia guide and breakdown. This one was a bit complex, so I hope that I was able to simplify it for all of you guys. But remember to comment down below what your Promeia pull plans are. And don't forget, we have our Miyabi raffle over on YouTube. We have our Promeia $100 giveaway over on Twitch. And we're actually going to be hosting a quiz bowl sometime in the new feature into the new 2.8 patch. So stay tuned for that. And with that, thank you guys so much for the support. I'm super excited to jump into 2.8 and the new season with you guys. And if you guys are completely new to the platoon, welcome in. It's your boy Josh, and click on one of these next videos because YouTube thinks you'll like it. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.